welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. First thing I want to say is this. If this episode looks a little weird or looks a little different or whatever, it's because I'm trying to screen record it in a slightly different way. This time I'm trying to do it like where I'm screen recording the window directly. And, well, if it looks bad, that's because, I don't know, I guess the encoding is wrong or whatever. I don't know. I'm just doing it the only way that it can actually be workable, apparently, as far as I can tell. If it's bad, oh well. Maybe I won't be doing these special episodes no more. I don't know. The way I did it before, I didn't seem to have any problems, but I guess that changed. Anyways, first I just want to say, I guess a big congratulations or whatever, a thank you for the support this video got, I guess. You know, it's relatively the same as, you know, other videos in the whatever. But yeah, that's just pretty good. I like that. With that out of the way, let's get right into the news. First, a news story coming from Trump. You know, what else is new? See, because remember, Donald Trump tried to do the thing where he tried to do tariffs on Mexico and Canada and China and all these other nations. And then, well, we'll get to one of them in a second, but first we're going to check how it does with Mexico, the Mexico tariffs. He's announced that he has paused Mexico's tariffs for 1 month after an agreement on border troops. Now, Claudia Sheinbaum herself made a very explicit tweet about the deal. We had a good conversation with President Trump. With great respect for our relationship and sovereignty, we reached a series of agreements. 1, Mexico will immediately reinforce the northern border with 10,000 members of the National Guard to prevent drug trafficking from Mexico to the United States, particularly fentanyl. The United States is committed to working to prevent trafficking of high-powered weapons in Mexico. Our teams will begin working today on 2 fronts, security and trade. They're pausing tariffs for 1 month. And yeah, you know, some people were kind of like, okay, that's... Like at first, some people, like, I mean, there was even one person on the website, Our Campaigns, they posted this, and then they started, like, you know, shit-talking, be like, haha, like, they were, like, shit-talking me, specifically, like, oh, haha, Claudia Sheinbaum, she's working with Donald Trump, she's working with Donald Trump. But then there's this one big thing you need to see. There's one specific part of the deal that you need to make mention. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum agreed to immediately send 10,000 soldiers to her country's border to prevent the trafficking of fentanyl and other drugs. Now that number is very important. She makes note of it here. 10,000 members of the National Guard are on the north. Like she's like, our deal. The part of the deal is this many soldiers are going to be at the northern border. Interesting that in this article from 2021. Mexico literally announced the exact same thing. They were going to deploy 10,000 soldiers to the northern border. So, literally, what happened was Mexico agreed to do the things they were already doing in exchange for Trump to give up the tariffs and to stop, like, sending weapons down south? Like, I mean, I'm being real. It sounds like she won. I'm just sorry. I really don't see a situation where there's like, oh, Trump won. Trump didn't win. Mexico won. Mexico's the one who won this deal. Literally. Sheinbaum got everything she wanted. Trump got nothing. And spoiler, the same thing happened to Canada. Canada announces a $1.3 billion border plan to combat fentanyl flow, and as such, Trump paused tariffs. Here's an article from last year where Trudeau announced $1.3 billion federal border security plan. With the same thing happening. Like, with Trudeau actually getting a bit more explicit by stating, we reiterate. Like, he's again literally just saying the deal that they already had in place from the previous administration. And Trump is again walking with, I won, yes! It's just hilarious. but we're supposed to be, quote, quote, now we're going to be respected on the world scene. And that's what's going to happen. Like, that's what happened. That has happened. A lot of people who love Trump are like, just turning around and be like, oh yeah, Trump won. He didn't win. Literally, they won. Like, Sheinbaum and Trudeau won. Literally. It's just fucking hilarious. And I did read like some tweets that said like, oh, the reason why he actually did do this is because the economy was slated to go down because of the tariff plan. I don't know how true that is. I mean, it's probably true because really does not seem like, because like it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, it's proof that the Trump and his politics, they're all talk. They have no actual substantive plans for nothing, because the biggest plans they have is, can you guys do the things you're already doing? That's why I can't take any of this fucking like nonsense about the border seriously. When it's like, the best course of action is for Trump to be like, hey, can you guys do the things you're already doing? It's like, then why are you complaining? Nonsense. Speaking of nonsense, I don't know why this stupid gray thing is over here. El Salvador has offered to house U.S. violent criminals and deportees of any nationality in unprecedented field. El Salvador has agreed to house violent U.S. criminals and receive deportees of any nationality, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced Monday, in unprecedented and legally problematic deal that has alarmed critics and rights groups. Rubio unveiled the agreement after meeting with Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele as part of a tour of several Central American countries intended to consolidate regional support of the Trump administration's immigration policy. In an act of extraordinary friendship to our country, El Salvador has agreed to the most unprecedented and extraordinary migrant. The country will continue to accept Salvadoran deportees who illegally enter the United States, he said. It will also accept for... Basically, El Salvador has announced that they're going to be taking any criminals that the U.S. sends to them, which is very troubling, especially considering El Salvador is literally a police state. El Salvador is literally a police state now. Like, quite literally, if you remember the episode I did on El Salvador is literally a police state now. Like there are people who literally went to El Salvador, who came to El Salvador and disappeared. Quite literally. Like, there's really not much else I can add to this, because it's just, like, kind of the most blatant, obviously, like, protecting democracy my ass. Like, literally, like, Marco Rubio is like a fucking, like, he's Kissinger 2.0. And I'm sick and tired of people who are, like, they're like, well, I mean, Marco Rubio's probably not that bad. No, all the Trump administration is bad. I don't care. I literally don't care. Even that fucking, like, bitch who's like, oh, well, I supported the project. I don't give a fuck. Downvote, L, ratio, out. I don't care. Like, literally, every single moment of the Trump administration should not be in there. Marco Rubio is just Henry Kissinger 2.0, and we're going to be waiting, and we're going to be counting the days until we can do the Henry Kissinger, like, is Marco Rubio even in this thing? Memes. And the fact that he got 99 out of, like, he got a full 99 senators to vote for him is just insane. Like, this man, Nayib Bukele, has literally called himself a dictator on Twitter, but, you know, whatever. Everybody loves him, apparently. But speaking of another Latin American country, Colombia. Colombia's president orders national oil company to cancel U.S. venture over environmental concerns. Colombian President Gustavo Petro on Tuesday ordered the state-run petroleum to cancel a joint venture with the U.S.-owned company that was expected to produce 90,000 barrels of oil per day, citing environmental concerns. In a nationally televised speech, Petro said that he opposed the recent extension of a deal between or Oxy because it involved extracting oil through fracking, a controversial technique used to extract oil and gas from the shale rock. I want that operating to be sold and for the operation to be invested into clean energies, Petro said in a meeting with his cabinet that was live streamed on social media. We are against fracking because fracking is the death of nature and the death of humanity. This one, like, I think, is this the same deal that has a different thing? Because I think there was another deal, because like that specific meeting had a little bit of controversial elements, if I remember correctly. Like, I mean, here's another incident that happened.
Lo decidirá la gente, porque puede que ni entremos a la campaña, eso lo decidirá la gente, pero lo hemos hecho porque le apostamos a este proyecto, porque si sacrificamos tantas cosas porque amamos este proyecto, lo amamos a usted, presidente, yo a usted lo amo. Se lo digo con toda sinceridad, y por usted hasta el último día, pase lo que pase, voy a estar aquí defendiendo este proyecto, presidente.
Is it the same meeting? Yeah, it should be. It should be the same meeting, I think. But like, apparently, there's some people who say that that this meeting has a lot of like cringy moments, but like that's not a cringy. Like this one isn't really cringy at all. It's just him expressing like, you know, criticism over U.S. policy and, you know, standing his ground like he always does. Like I said, I posted it on Twitter at one point, but it gives me massive pride that the few leaders that have been standing up to the Trump administration thus far have been members of the Pink Tide, and I commend them 100%. But one thing I find funny, like, I mean, there's one thing a lot of people have been saying was funny, and I already put a tweet thing. We know who's running for their nomination, and yeah, I'll be real. Gustavo Bolivar, be on the lookout. This guy's probably going to be the leader of the Colombian, like, he's going to be the guy who's going to be the torchbearer for Gustavo Petro. But anyways, why don't we head back to the United States? Let's see what Trump has had to say.
And they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
Given what you've said about Gaza, did the U.S. send troops to help secure the security vacuum?
As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so this could be so magnificent. I love Israel. I will visit there, and I'll visit Gaza, and I'll visit.
But again, I don't have that much privilege. I don't have a lot of things. Conservative that's president, and there's a killing right before the court, and then magically it's like, oh, well, we like or we'll be friends with. I have actually 100% advocating for trying to the war with these fucking countries. And this is like, again, obvious. The situation that this is not obvious is stupid. I mentioned in a story that they're still pushing the whole Mexico is bad enemy within, meaning his medical debt won't go. That's the only way to prevent Donald Trump from getting in the office. Quite literally, that's it. 10% of your feed. That is all you do. You don't talk. Yeah, I was looking for a very specific moment where I was talking about Palestine, but you got my point. You got my point. You got my point. You got my point. Downvote. 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 Downvote! You get my point. I was 100% right. I'm just gotta be real. I'm 100% right. I'm sorry. I just gotta be real. I'm sorry, guys. I was right. There's a fucking video, I forget who it is, where it's like, hold on, let me see if I can find it. You survived, there it is, you survived 4 years of Trump. I don't think I can find it. Very specifically. But there's a video of like a fucking like Arabic man who said like, you survived 4 years of Trump, you can survive 4 more. Basically trying to be like, look, it's okay for Trump to win because then the Palestinians will be saved. It's like, no, it's literally, it's like, and I'm gonna be real, where's the fucking Palestinian protesters? I mean, I know there are still people who are pro-Palestinian protesting, but it's like, guys, I'm not seeing a lot of you no more. Where was your action for that? Come on, guys. Benjamin Netanyahu was literally invited to the White House. Where was your protest for that? Anyways, let's see what other brain-dead stupid decisions Trump is making. Okay, here's one. Trump orders freeze of aid to South Africa, citing country's land expropriation law. President Donald Trump signed an executive order Friday, formalizing its announcement earlier in the week that he'll freeze assistance to South Africa for a law aiming to address some of the wrongs of South Africa's racist apartheid era, a law the White House says amounts to discrimination against the country's white minority. As long as South Africa continues to support bad actors on the world stage and allows violent actions of innocent, disfavored minority lawyers, the United States will stop aid and associating with the country. Trump was responding to a new law in South Africa. They're pointing out this one thing, but like right there, you kind of saw, you saw it, right? As long as South Africa continues to support bad actors on the world stage, he means Palestine. Because, again, this was done at the same time that Benjamin Netanyahu was at a meeting with Donald Trump. And this is one of the things I really have to say. Oh, no. South Africa is doomed. They cannot do trade with the United States anymore. Oh, no. Whatever shall he do? Whatever will Cyril Ramaphosa do? It is not like he has the connections of 4 of the most powerful nations that are opposed to the United States ever. Man, it is so crazy. I cannot believe that there is absolutely no nation that will do trade or do any negotiations and aid for the people of South Africa. There is not a single country at all that will ever do any sort of deals with this evil, disgusting country anymore. I cannot believe it. How dare they? I gotta be real. Trump is very obviously a plant for China. I gotta be real. I'm just sorry, guys. Maybe I'll make a whole podcast about it, but again, basically he's been giving China W after W after W. Now China and Russia are the only ones that are doing deals with South Africa. I wonder if that'll help South Africa at all. Anyways, let's move on to the last story, which is potentially good news. All right, I got some news. I decided to run against Nancy Pelosi to represent San Francisco in Congress. Saikat Chakrabarti. I should have learned to pronounce that name before I made the fucking episode. All right, basically, Saikat Chakrabarti, or whatever his name is. Saikat, I just call him Saikat, because first name, most people call people by their first name. Basically, entered in the race. He's apparently going to be the first progressive challenger for 2026. And right off the bat, he is kind of failing on one regard, where I respect what Nancy Pelosi accomplished in her career, but we are living in a total different no. Saying that is just clearly, obviously, just to make, liberals love him. But there's actually some things you might not know. Let's look a little bit at Saikat, because some of you might not know, because it's been a while since he's been relevant. I gotta be real. Yeah, it has been a while since he's been relevant. I really have not heard about him since 2019. Saikat was one of the founders of Brand New Congress and Justice Dems, I think. Was he a founder of both? Yes, Saikat was a founder of Brand New Congress and a founder of Justice Dems. Who will hold the ladder against him? Episode about Brand New Congress linked somewhere. Saikat was also Saikat has a pretty active record for supporting Bernie Sanders. He was one of the earliest background people to support Bernie. Again, he chaired Justice Democrats. He was the chief of staff of AOC, and to many people, they actually argue that Saikat was actually the first, the first thing to fail, one of the first things that made AOC fall from grace, because this is where the drama began. You see, Saikat, he was one of the leading people to help AOC write the Green New Deal resolution. Then, not that long afterwards, he resigned from AOC's chief of staff. On August 2nd, 2019, Representative Alcácer-Cortez announced that Saikot had left the office to work for its new consensus to further develop plans for the Green New Deal. That same day, The Intercept, Chakrabarti announced that he would be starting work with New Consensus, an organization dedicated to the Green New Deal. The Congressman was ambitious, But then, there was actually some conspiracy theories, because a subsequent article suggested that the connection between the departure and AOC was actually because that, she was actually going to shift, he was actually going to, AOC was going to shift her strategy to focus to be a bit more moderate. Not necessarily moderate, but, working with conservative colleagues, because, Saikot wasn't necessarily the nicest to these guys, and calling, the Blue Dogs and the New Dems, the New Southern Democrats, who vote for enabling a racist system. So yeah, I'm just keep an eye on him, I guess. He could be cringe. I think I saw some tweets saying, don't donate to Saikot, don't support him, he's cringe. I don't know for what, I don't know controversies, because I don't really know much about him, I don't really care. He's not gonna win, I'm sorry. Nancy Pelosi's not gonna lose. I'm sorry, I just gotta be real, she's not gonna lose. We had multiple people run against her. We had multiple people run against her. We had Shahid Buttar, he turned out to be a rapist, and then fucking, I don't know, who were the other people? Stephen Jaff? I don't know. Anyways, speaking of I don't know, let's move on to the main topic of this video. The InfValues quiz, the Infinite Values quiz. It is based on the Samply Values quiz, which is in turn based on the 8 Values quiz. And it's going to give me 185 questions, and I have to say yes, no, or whatever. I have to put my level of agreement or whatever, and it'll put me on a certain number of axes. It lies because it's not an infinite number of axes, but it puts me on a lot of numbers of axes. There's economics, ageism, fucking satire, or horseshoe theory, or whatever the fuck. I don't really know, but regardless, I remember taking this at some point earlier in the year. I forget. I guess I should have mentioned the fucking I guess I should have mentioned the fucking quiz. Damn it! It won't be on here anymore. Shoot! It won't be on here anymore because it doesn't have the thing. Fuck. Damn it. Oh well. I guess I'll have to cut that part out. Anyways, let's just get into the Infinite Values quiz. You'll be presented with a series of statements. For each one, click the button with your opinion on it. Proceed shuffled, proceed unshuffled. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. Let's go. Wait, it said 185. Why is this said 170? Whatever. Corporations should be a dominant ruling force. I guess I'll zoom out so I can get the question and the... Okay, here it is. Extremely disagree. Inheritance is a legitimate form of wealth. I'm going to put a slight disagree because there's a small amount I can understand, whether it be monetary or at least just the things. Capitalism is the most successful and beneficial economic system yet. Extremely disagree. The means of production should belong to the workers. Extremely agree. Basic utilities such as roads and electricity should be publicly owned. Extremely agree. Communities should suffer the gains and losses together. I'll say strongly agree. A strong and large government is the best for society. See, that's the big thing. It's what does that mean? Because the idea of strong government or large government or whatever, it's these are meaningless terms to me. I guess I'll put disagree. Even when protesting authoritarian government, violence cannot be accepted. I'll put disagree. Generally, I'm against violence, but if if you're literally push comes to shove, and it's what do you expect? Law and order is more important than freedom and liberty. I'll put a disagree because I prefer stability, but if a state exists, its size should be minimized. Strongly disagree. Government should stay out of people's daily lives. What does that mean? Like, to some people, it's like, the government should stay out of your daily lives. That means there should be no income tax. Some people say government should stay out of your daily lives. That just means you shouldn't, they shouldn't regulate whether or not you kiss people of your same sex or not. Government should stay out of people's lives. I guess I'll put slight agree. The existence of the state is in and of itself a threat to our liberty. Extremely disagree. It's important to prioritize our nation's interests over the rest of the world. Slight agree because slight agree on that one because I'm trying to think of generally, yeah, a nation should prioritize its own citizens over citizens of other nations, but it's not like they should be completely forgotten, obviously. My nation is great. I wouldn't say extremely disagree. I know that must slightly cringe for a lot of you, but I wouldn't say extremely disagree. So it'll either be strong, mild, or unsure. I could see an argument for any of those because there are some things about America that are pretty based and cool and red-pilled, and there's some things about America that are kind of cringe. So for that, I'll put a slight disagree. Wars do not need to be justified. Nationalism is a selfish and evil ideology. That's a slightly tough question, only because there exists left-wing nationalism, where they channel sort of the nationalistic fervor for good and baseness. I'll put slight agree. We should try to avoid wars and conflicts as much as possible. Strongly agree, extremely agree. A global country will be great for humanity. Strongly disagree. That just kind of sounds that sounds very authoritarian. Maintaining culture is very important. But what does that mean? What does maintaining culture mean? That's one of the things that is with all these nonsense terms. Maintaining culture, what does that mean? Because to some people, maintaining culture means maintaining statues of racist figures. To me, that's not maintaining culture. That's not it. Some people, maintaining culture means maintaining the white hegemony of the society. To me, that's not maintaining culture. I'm one of those Lawrence Lessig open culture type people. So it's to me, that's what maintaining culture is. That's what that means to me. So for this one, I have to put neutral unsure because I don't know what that means. We should maintain traditional values as much as possible. Extremely disagree. We should not chase progress. Strongly disagree. Society should be changed or reformed. Extremely agree. I support the LGBTQ community. Strongly agree. Progression is vital to human society. Extremely agree. The progression in technology has been mostly beneficial. I'd say I'll put strongly agree because there are some not so good benefits of technology. Developing advanced technology is the best way to solve climate change. Extremely agree. Life is harder and generally worse than it was a few decades ago. I'd put a few decades ago. That would be, let's just say that would be 2000. I'll put strongly disagree. Technology development should be slowed down. That's a tough question. I can see a little bit of both. I'll put neutral unsure because I can see both sides of the argument, especially with the rise of artificial intelligence. I can see putting a slight one, but I don't want to restrict it too much. Technology developed too much is very dangerous. I'll put a slight agree for that one. A god or a higher being exists. Tips fedora, grows out neckbeard, pulls out my katana, grabs Bible, puts it in fiction section. My religion should be spread as much as possible. I don't have a religion, so what does this mean? Does this? Because this is another thing where it's yeah, but what if you're not religious? Does that mean you think atheism should be spread as much as possible? I guess I'll put a slight disagree because extremely disagree. A religious government should be put in place. Extremely disagree. Churches and other religious organizations should be taxed as much as other institutions are. Absolutely. My political ideas are fundamentally different from the status quo. Extremely agree. A certain amount of violence is required in order to establish my ideology. Strongly disagree or extremely disagree? Because I'm a reformist socialist, so ideally there would be no violence. I'll put like strongly disagree. I'll put strongly disagree. My ideology is mainstream. That's a tough one. Because there's a lot of technicalities you can make about my ideology. But I would say broadly... mainstream in like the political sense, like with political people, like, but is it mainstream? I don't know. I haven't checked like a socialism poll in a while. So I guess I'll put like a slight disagree. My political ideas can be established through small reforms. Maybe a bit, like slightly agree. But I mean, I would still say that there should be like broader reforms. Protests should be as peaceful as possible. Strongly agree. They should be. They should strive to be peaceful as possible. They should strive for that. Aggression brings more negatives than positives. Extremely agree. Violence is sometimes unavoidable in order to achieve real change. Slight agree. That is true. That is true. Sometimes it's unavoidable. I'm sorry, guys. That's a sad fact. I want to work to build a world where violence can be avoided. But unfortunately, we live in a world where that is unavoidable to a certain extent. John Brown had to go through violence to enact change for the Civil War. Experts and intelligent people should rule this country. Slight disagree. Democracy is unstable and easily corruptible. Disagree, because there's some elements of that are a little true, but I would broadly say that democracy wins overall. Being suitable is more important than being popular for a leader. Slight disagree. Democracy is the least worst system of government. Based, that's true. If computers become smarter than humans, computers should rule. I mean, I actually believe that if I'm this is a real hot take. This is a real take for me. Like this is a real take. I'm not doing, because I know a lot of people like to do the thing about like computers ruling the world for like a meme, but like no, I in the most genuine sense believe that if an artificial intelligence is able to like comprehend human thought, they should be given the same rights as humans, and as such that would include the right to govern and rule. So I put strongly agree actually. Kakistraki? I forget. I looked this up the last time I took this test. I forget what it is. Government by the least suitable or competent citizens. You mean like what we have now? No, I don't want them to be completely unqualified, but I want them to like be cool. If a ruling body exists, it should be chosen by the people. Yes. A representative democracy is preferable to a direct democracy. Not necessarily preferable, but there needs to be like a give or take with both of them. There needs to be some elements of both, honestly, for society to work. So for that, I'll put like a slight disagree, because it's not more beneficial or less beneficial. There are pros and cons to both. Strong leaderships maximizes the efficiency of a nation. Strongly disagree. That sounds like authoritarianism and like hero worship. The best ideology is different for every nation. Nope. Socialism is the best one for all of them. Tyrannical governments should be, just for the sake of like understanding that there's like different types of socialism for each side, for each country, I'll put like a slight disagree. Tyrannical government should be toppled. Well, that's a very tough question, because like who topples them and who considers what is tyrannical and what is not? And is it our duty to topple them? I think all tyrannical governments should be overthrown by the people of their people. But I don't believe that we should feel like we should like go overthrowing governments that we consider tyrannical. Especially considering what this current government would consider tyrannical and not, clearly isn't right. So I'll put neutral or unsure. Intervention is generally beneficial. No! Globalization is inevitable, and it must be embraced. Now here, guys, it must be embraced. Slight disagree. If certain people migrate into our countries, it's important for them to assimilate to our culture. Extremely disagree. Each ethnicity should stay in their communities. Extremely disagree. It's important to be diverse at all times. Extremely agree. Race and ethnicity shouldn't matter. Strongly agree. Staying realistic is very important. Agree. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Extremely agree. We need to be more open towards radical ideas. Extremely agree. We should strive towards a utopian society. Extremely agree. Selfishness is a negative trait. Strongly agree. Working for the community is more important than finding happiness. No, disagree. Everybody should be happy. Everyone should be able to do whatever they want to do. With it, on surface, I go, yes. But then I realize there's some people that'll take this a little bit too far, so I go, with certain limits, yeah, broadly. The most meaningful times spent are the times where you do things in your own interest. Neutral and sure, that could be different things. Some people, their own interest is helping other people's interests, so what do you do by that? The freedom of business is the best way society can prosper. Economic regulation often brings more bad than good. Wrong. The freedom of business is the best way society can prosper. Wait, we already did this question, did we not? The freedom of business is the best way society can prosper. Okay. Economic regulation often brings more bad than good. The freedom of business is the best way society can prosper. We did this question already. Why did they have it twice? The market regulates itself if the government steps away from the economy. It is necessary for the government to intervene in the economy to protect consumers. Absolutely. If corporations exist, they must mostly be state-owned. If they need to exist, they don't need to exist. But if they do, this is purely taking the question on its value. But I go slightly down because I don't believe they should exist. But if they have to, then yes, they should be state-owned, and then their profits should be used to help the community. Children should always have to listen to parents. I could easily take this into a very dark direction. What if the parent is telling their child to do something very inappropriate? So I would put disagree because there's, of course, a limit to that. Having a minimum age for a job is crucial. Yes, extremely agree. Older people often have more experience and knowledge. No, that's literally just dependent on the person. If a child voluntarily chooses to work, they should be allowed to work. No. Young people are currently too excluded from many things. Broadly, yes. Society doesn't need to be organized. No. The current law system is too strict and absolute. I'd say broadly, yeah. Without an organized system, society will be messy and chaotic. Yeah. Being organized is a positive trait. Yeah, broadly. I'm gonna go down a peg because, there's some messy people that are that's really, not really, that's a personal thing. Everybody should stay disciplined in most cases. Let's just check real quick, the Google definition of disciplined. Neutral and sure. I've done many wrong things in the past. Yeah, kind of. I'm not perfect. Extremely agree. Am I right? Haha. Depression. Yes. I am seen as selfless and kind person by other people. I don't fucking know. I don't talk to other people. What do you think I am? What do you think I am? An extrovert? I often find myself hating other people. Local governments can understand their citizens better than the national government could. Slight agree. Laws should vary from area to area and culture to culture within a country. Not necessarily, no. A federal state is better than a unitary state. Neutral, unsure, I really have no opinion on that matter. Subdivision should not be able to be exempt from national laws. Yeah. The national government protects the minorities better than some local governments do. Yes. Most things can only be accomplished through a group. Broadly. If the current career system is being used, a person's personal and work life should stay separate. Absolutely. Being self-sufficient as a person is a positive trait. I mean, I guess. My ideology could seem unworkable or scary to some people. Absolutely. My ideology is contradictory. Absolutely not. When describing political beliefs, it could seem boring. Neutral, unsure. You guys tell me, am I right? My political ideology has a substantial amount of followers. Yeah, I'd say broadly. Privacy is more important than security. Broadly agree, yeah. The government should not be involved in a person's personal life in any way. I'd say slight agree because, again, there are some restrictions we can deal with. Sometimes spying on a citizen is a good idea in order to combat terrorism. You see, at one point, I would have answered extremely disagree on this one because, super broad 100%. But I mean, again, like, in very rare circumstances, I would say that it is beneficial. If a guy breaks the law and then they check on him every once in a while, keep tabs on him, then maybe, that's fine. Neutral, unsure. If a person has nothing to hide, he has nothing to fear. Slight disagree. It's a waste of time trying to rehabilitate some criminals. Kind of, yeah. I only put a slight agree because we should still try to rehabilitate them, but at some point, some of them we do have to just say, you know what? I think it's best that you just stay in the prison. I support the death penalty. Extreme disagree. Rehabilitation is more important than punishment. Yes. The current law system is too strict. Yes. Reality is shaped by human perception and understanding. Neutral, unsure. This is a too philosophical one. Reality is only reality when the mind or soul thinks it is. No. Any thought or belief needs to be proven materialistically. Broadly, yes. The Enlightenment was a mistake. No. Life was much better a few decades ago. No. I wish I could live in the past. No. Quality of life will improve substantially in the future. I hope. I would have probably said extremely agree at one point, but, the future for human civilization looks bright. Neutral, unsure. Life was horrible a few centuries ago. Absolutely. Abortion is murder. Absolutely not. It would be best if the birth rate was higher than it is currently. I don't care about the birth rate. Life is short but not meaningful. We should not waste it. Extremely agree. A woman should be able to choose to abort a fetus. Extremely agree. Life has no real meaning. Yes. The meaning is what you choose to give it. It would be better if humans were extinct. No. I have an IQ that's above 120. I don't fucking know my IQ. I don't give a shit about IQ. Many people consider me intelligent. That's fact. That's a fact. I take that fact great. People ask me questions a lot. It's difficult for me to construct a complete sentence. Sometimes. Logic is a social construct. I mean, everything is a social construct, yeah, to a degree. I have to contradict myself. I hope not. Climate change is not real. Nope, it is. Finding ways to solve climate change is a waste of time. Absolutely not. Protecting the environment is very important. Yes. We should slow down and reverse human progression in order to save the environment. To a slight degree, yes. The horseshoe theory is correct. That depends on your interpretation of the horseshoe theory. Neutral, unsure. In a political chart, the more axes, the better. No, not really. Taxation is theft. No. Medieval art looks good. Let me just do a quick look at some medieval art real quick. See if I agree. I mean, yeah, I could see the appeal. I think some elements of it look fine. We should only judge an action based on its consequence. For the most part, yeah. And I think an action should be judged by a set of rules. Neutral, unsure. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Strong disagree. An eye for an eye makes the world go blind. Work can be an enjoyable experience as long as any person finds the right job for them. Yeah. Companies should be encouraged to reduce working hours. Yes. I am productive. Sometimes. Some offensive words and statements should be censored. That's a tough one. Some, very some, but like, ones that are like explicitly like, like neo-Nazi or terroristic, like very some, but not necessarily all of them. Some words should be changed in order to decrease diversity. Yeah. The freedom of speech needs to be protected. Absolutely. Any person should be able to say whatever they want without consequence. No, not necessarily. I shouldn't think, like, depending on what they say, what they do, depends on the type of consequence. But, like, there's, like, everybody knows that exact same, like, logic everybody uses. If a person is in a movie theater and they yell fire, and then, freedom of speech doesn't protect them from that. And, like, if they make a threat to someone, and, some political statements can be, like, okay, maybe we should, like, we should probably, like, arrest them, not arrest them, or I guess it would depend on the statements. It's like a thing. Like, it's a spectrum. You gotta understand. People who say, like, oh, no censorship, they're just lying and bullshitting themselves. Most decisions should be made according to logic, even if it makes people unhappy. Neutral and sure. Some opinions are just truer than others. A decision is always bad if all people are against it. I mean, not necessarily. The population should not be too intelligent. Extremely disagree. I believe that the people should be extremely intelligent. Every person should have access to basic education. Yes. We should make many efforts to increase the intelligence of the population. Absolutely. Weapons should be privatized through a free market. Nope. Only corporations should have the ability to own weapons. Absolutely not. Every worker should own weapons. Neutral and sure. Free trade benefits in both sides in most cases. Nope. Free trade is one of the best methods for an underdeveloped country to escape poverty. Nope. The negative impacts of tariffs outweigh the positive impacts. Not necessarily. Free trade often harms local businesses and workers. Yeah. If a society becomes too open-minded, society would become unstable and unsafe. In some very slim cases, maybe. Certain ideas cannot be tolerated in any context, yeah. Humans have more intrinsic value than animals. I gotta be real, like, a tiny bit. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I know you guys love your dogs, you love your puppers, you love your meow meows or whatever. But I'm sorry, humans do have a little bit more intrinsic value than animals. Killing animals for food isn't immoral. Yeah. There should be stricter laws on killing animals. Neutral and sure, you'd have to give me a specific law. The workplace should be hierarchical. Nope. The owner of a business should own the means of production because they took the risk of bankruptcy. Nope. Workplaces should be worker owned. Yes. The interests of a nation's legal citizens are more important than those of the interests of immigrants. Slight disagree. Walls and fences should be set up in order to stop illegal immigration. Extremely disagree. I took this test unironically. Extremely agree. The more layers of irony, the better. Extremely disagree. Okay, here it is. Here are my InfValues quiz. Alright, here we are. Communist. Alright. Axis 1, I'm a communist. Axis 2, I'm the mix between liberal and statist. In this one, I'm a mix of diplomatic and slight internationalist. Okay, here I am a progressive revolutionary. I'm a productivist accelerationist. I am a full-blown atheist. I am a centrist moderate. I am a non-aggressive non-violent. I'm a Democrat. Ew! I'm a mix between direct democracy and representative democracy. I am a relativist. I am colorblind with a mix of reverse ethno-states. Why is colorblind to the left of multiculturalist? I'm an optimist with a slight hint of realism. I am a slightly moralist personal liberty people. I am a broadly regulation with a hint of planned economy. I am child labor. What? What the fuck does that mean? I was explicitly give like anti-child labor questions. What the fuck? I don't even know what this fucking axis is. Disciplined and organized. But I know for a fact that's not fucking true. Impure with a hint of rude. Centralist representativist. Egocentrism. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Non-wacky. Gadsdenism. Rehabilitation legislation. Pragmatic scientific. Near future present day. Pro-choice. Sensible. I've taken this question multiple times. I've never gotten one on this axis. I guess I just didn't give enough answers for this axis to get an answer? Is this just a thing that, like, even if you answer all the questions, you don't get one on this axis? Is this just a glitch? If I had to guess, I would have said that I was at least environmentalist. Or maybe I am an environmentalist, but it doesn't show it because of the color. I am a horseshoe single line. I am a 100% tax with a slight hint of 200% tax. I am a classical art, medieval art guy. I think all these arts are fine. I'm a moral rationalist and a utilitarian. I'm relaxed. Etiquette. Skeptic and facts. Okay, that's one's kind of true. Robot population. Armed workers with a hint of compulsory weaponization. Protectionist. Agenda close-minded. What? Poaching, herding. Worker-owned, no workplace. Open borders, borderless. Sincere, negative irony. Alright. Those are my infinite axes. I guess I'll just check how many of these are accurate. I'll just recheck. I think basically any of these ones I'd be fine with. I mean, that could be basically any of these ones I'm fine with. Any of these ones I'd probably be fine with. I would say that I'm probably actually a bit more worker-owned, unionized. Or, like, I guess basically any of these are fine. I don't know why I'm fucking here. I mean, I would at the very least thought I would have been, like, here. I mean, I would have figured that I was at the very least, like, in the middle of these things. Somewhere in here. But I don't know. I guess maybe I just didn't answer enough questions. I don't know. This one I'd say is probably accurate. I would have thought I would have been, like, at the very least over here. Robotic population enhancements. I'll be real, I thought I'd be here. I'd say this one I think is probably the most accurate for me. Etiquette, pro-context. I guess this kind of fits. Relax kind of fits. I don't really know much about this one. Again, I really could see any of these be fine. Any of these, probably been fine with. I don't really give a shit about, like, the Axes quiz. Like I said before, I would have probably been environmentalist. Sensible, but I think this one makes sense. This one makes sense. This one makes sense. This one, I'd say it kind of makes sense, yeah. Rehabilitation, yeah, this makes sense. I really don't know what the fuck this one is supposed to be. I guess it means I'm, like, anti-police, or, like... Oh, yeah, though this one was, like, for fucking, I guess this one might make sense if I knew what the fuck Gadsdenism was, like, meaning in this context. Not wacky? I guess that makes sense. I don't know really much about this one. This one kind of makes sense, I guess. This one... Would have figured I'd have been at least indecent or rude, but disciplined, organized. I would have probably thought I'd been a bit more in this category. I don't know what this is supposed to mean, so I will just disagree. This one's probably accurate. This one's probably accurate. This one, relatively accurate. I would have figured that I would have been colorblind and multicultural. This one kind of makes sense. This one, I would have probably thought I would have leaned a bit more. I don't really know. This one, I guess, leans a little bit more direct democracy. I thought I would have, at the very least, like, given my answers, I probably would have leaned a little bit more here. This one makes sense. I guess with these ones being the labels. This one makes sense. Would have figured that I would have been at the very least moderate to radical. This one, I would have figured that I would have at the very least hit like a slight hint of anti-theist. This one, I would have given the context of this, I would have probably given like productivist. This one makes sense, though I think reformist to revolutionary probably could be like any of these ones could have worked. Diplomatic internationalist, I guess it kind of makes sense. And I guess this one relatively makes sense. And I guess this one makes sense, I guess comparatively to the quiz. So yeah, that's basically all I have for this episode. If you want to take the infinite values yourself, leave a comment below, and if you're daring, give me all your axes. And were you also labeled child labor? I guess. And I guess you can leave links to like other potential political quizzes that you might think that I could be interested in. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the bell to find a future video when it comes out. And if you want more content from me, consider supporting me on Patreon.